Trump evacuated from White House after massive 9/11 spy system discovered. By Sorcha Faal, August 6, 2017. WhatDoesItMean.com. A stunning new MOFA urgent action bulletin circulating in the Kremlin today reveals a shocking conversation held between Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson just hours ago in Manila, wherein the Americans revealed that President Donald Trump was ordered evacuated from his White House after it was discovered to be riddled with listening devices implanted throughout the entire mansion, and whose placements were purported there to ensure that no evidence related to the 11 September 2001 9/11 attacks on the United States would be discussed at any level. According to this bulletin, though many in the U.S. establishment believe that Trump decided to run for president in 2011 when he was openly mocked by the Obama regime at the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, Secretary Tillerson stated to Ministry Lavrov that it was in fact in 2009 when Trump determined himself to become president, and was due to the believed to be assassination of his close personal friend, Beverly Eckert. Beverly Eckert was one of the founding members of the 9/11 Steering Committee, that was an organization of 12 relatives of victims of the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City, and whose husband killed in this attack, Sean Rooney, was the vice president of Trump's global insurance carrier, Aon Corporation, who, in 2005, paid Trump $17 million for hurricane damage done to his private Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida, and that Trump also paid $300,000 to last year, 2016, to ensure his presidential campaign with. Trump was deeply wounded when his loyal friend and Aon insurance broker, Sean Rooney, was killed on 9/11. This bulletin notes Secretary Tillerson saying to Minister Lavrov, leading him to support the efforts of Beverly Eckert in discovering the truth behind this atrocity, but who herself, in February 2009, was assassinated just 6 days after meeting with President Obama in what Russian intelligence experts at the time suspected to be an EMP attack that targeted the aircraft she was a passenger on, and that we had, likewise, detailed about in our 14 February 09 report titled Top 9/11 Witness Assassinated in New York Plane Shoot Down. Meets Obama to ask for new 9/11 investigation. Dies 6 days later when plane Obama put her on crashes. Upon taking office, Secretary Tillerson explained to Minister Lavrov that President Trump immediately came under a withering attack from deep state operatives within the U.S. government when he began requesting classified documents relating to the 9/11 attack, with these deep state forces then pitting against Trump a special prosecutor named Robert Mueller. Important to note about Robert Mueller is that he is a long-time known deep state operative who, in 2005, personally ordered a grand jury probe into President Bill Clinton's pardoning of the international fugitive Mark Rich, closed for reasons never explained, and whom President Clinton had pardoned just hours before he left office, but who had received from Mark Rich's wife, Denise Rich, millions in donations. Most critical, however, to note about Robert Mueller is that he was also at the forefront of deep state sham 9/11 anthrax attack investigation, which were a series of attacks that began the week after the 9/11 using deadly U.S. Army militarized anthrax spores, but whose investigation conducted by Mueller targeted an innocent man named Stephen Hatfill, and that so destroyed his life. A U.S. federal court ordered Robert Mueller to pay Hatfill $5.8 million and with no one ever being charged for this other 9/11 deep state crime. With President Trump knowing full well of Robert Mueller's action plan against him, Secretary Tillerson revealed to Minister Lavrov that a U.S. attorney on Mueller's deep state team this past week requested documents from the White House on a 9/11 related subject that had only been discussed between two parties in the Oval Office of the White House the previous week. Fearing that the White House was bugged, President Trump's new Chief of Staff, General John Kelly, on Friday, 4 August, ordered all White House workers to immediately evacuate to the Eisenhower Executive Building, where he briefed the top White House officials on the leaking situation, while at the same time a specialized military unit of the Defense Clandestine Services, DCS, that is an arm of the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, swept the entire White House mansion for listening devices. To what the DCS discovered in the White House, Secretary Tillerson revealed to Minister Lavrov, was that it was riddled with listening devices implanted by the former Obama regime during a mysterious renovation of this mansion that began in September 2010 and lasted for 2 years. After the shocking discovery that the White House was riddled with listening devices, Secretary Tillerson further revealed to Secretary Lavrov General Kelly ordered it immediately evacuated, with President Trump within hours being evacuated to his private New Jersey golf resort, and the White House itself ordered to be completely gutted. MOFA intelligence analysts writing this urgent action bulletin state that Secretary Tillerson's relating of these facts to Minister Lavrov should be believed to be true, as coinciding with what was stated the U.S. press saddeningly and without notice. This past Friday, 4 August, reported that President Trump was taking an unannounced and unscheduled 17-day vacation, and that was followed 24 hours later with, and again unannounced and unscheduled, reports that the White House was being immediately evacuated and closed for renovations. Upon President Trump's evacuation from the White House by General Kelly, one of his top aides, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, accused Robert Mueller of representing the deep state at its worst, while at the same time deep state operatives aligned with Mueller and embedded throughout the U.S. government vowed continued defiance against Trump, all of which led to former Reagan administration official David Stockman issuing a grave warning stating, quote, "The bottom line is that the swamp is so undrainable that it will end up making mincemeat of Donald Trump." This bulletin, though, concludes with MOFA analysts disputing Stockman's belief that the deep state will make mincemeat of President Trump, as he has already proved himself nearly unstoppable in his already having destroyed the Clinton regime, Bush regime, Obama regime, Democratic Party, Republican Party, and mainstream media, in order to ascend to the presidency, and who is also already preparing for what is to come, and as perhaps best explained by his personal friend and one of America's top radio program hosts, Michael Savage, who grimly forewarned the deep state of civil war this past week if they try to remove Trump from power, and who gravely stated, "Not since the run-up to the Civil War has the nation been more divided. The battle lines have been drawn, the haves against the have-nots. I'm warning you. All of you leftists who think you're going to steal our vote, you're wrong. Millions of Americans will revolt if the globalists remove President Trump from office or render him powerless. That is what's going to happen in this country. You have not yet seen mob violence in this country. You've seen some mob violence instigated by George Soros mobs. But you haven't seen the thing I'm telling you is coming in this country. You haven't seen the day of the locust yet."